In this video, I'm breaking down the top classic competitors of the year, doing a sort of power ranking tier list. I'll be evaluating their physiques, consistency, and the quality of their wins to see who really stood out in 2025. Whether they dominated major shows or impressed with steady improvement, these are the competitors who define the season, in my own opinion. Now, remember, this is going to be based on my own opinion, and feel free to leave your thoughts and opinions down below. For the tiers, S plus tiers for the absolute best of the year, guys who won major shows, picked up multiple wins, and dominated every stage they stepped on. S tier goes to competitors who either won several shows or placed very highly at the Olympia, but weren't quite at that top level. A tiers for strong show winners who stayed competitive at big events and showed that they did belong with the very best. B tier includes solid pros who might have won smaller shows or shown promise this year, but still need to prove themselves against the very best in this division. Finally, C tiers for the disappointments of the year, hyped competitors who ended up looking a bit mediocre or simply did not deliver this season. Starting off, we have Mike Sommerfeld, who came into the 2025 season with a lot of hype after pushing Chris Bumstead harder than anyone at the 2024 Mr. Olympia. That momentum carried straight into this year, where he kicked things off with a massive statement win at the 2025 Arnold Classic, which also firmly established himself as one of the top contenders in the world. Now, Mike's physique this season was arguably the most well-rounded, yet freakiest in the division. His back thickness and width were next level, his quads were massive and deeply cut, and his X-frame created that perfect blend of shape and proportion. But what really set him apart, in my opinion, was the rare combination of sheer size and intricate detail. He looked both huge and razor-sharp simultaneously. Even though he didn't capture the Olympia title, finishing runner-up again is still a really incredible feat, especially after making weight and holding onto that fullness as well. Whether you love his look or not, you have to respect his dominance, consistency, and pure level of refinement that he brought this season. For those reasons, I would have him in S+ tier clearly, and if he keeps it up, he might just be the next true face of classic physique. Next up is Logan Franklin, one of the most aesthetic bodybuilders in classic physique right now, at least in my own opinion. His shape and flow are second to none, and when it comes to presentation, very few can match him in poise and artistry on stage. Coming into the 2025 Arnold Classic, which was his first show this year, Logan didn't have a ton of momentum, I would say, but he shocked everyone by taking second place right behind Mike Sommerfeld. Many fans even felt his look was more pleasing overall, thanks to his balance, lines, and very graceful posing. He brought great condition and those trademark aesthetics, but what held him back the most was the lack of overall mass compared to top names. He then had a pretty good win at the Florida Pro, which would qualify him for the 2025 Olympia, though that lineup was not very competitive, making it kind of hard to gauge where he truly stood. Unfortunately, his Olympia showing did not live up to expectations, where he landed in 12th place, which was a major letdown after such an incredible, promising start to the year. So, while Logan's physique remains one of the cleanest and most aesthetic in this division, his inconsistency this season keeps him out of the top tiers. So, I would place him in A tier, a beautiful physique that just needs more size and better peaking consistency to really contend for the crown. Moving on, we have Diego Galindo, one of the biggest breakout stars of 2025. He kicked things off this season with an incredible win at the Go Mesa Pro, where he surprised everyone with a balanced, compact, and very aesthetic physique that perfectly blended size, shape, and condition. His back development, in my own opinion, stood out as one of the best in the division, with really impressive density and detail that also elevated his look overall. Now, Diego carried that momentum into the Mr. Olympia, where he shocked the world by cracking the top 6, which was a massive jump from not even placing in 2024. Then to cap it all off, he went on to win the Mexico Pro after the Olympia, finishing the year off with 2 major victories and undeniable momentum. The combination of his structure, refinement, and muscularity puts him right up there with the elite in this division. For someone who proved he can win shows and hold his own against the very best, Diego Galindo easily lands in S tier, and honestly, he looks like he's one of the big, rising stars in classic physique. Also, if you guys are enjoying the video so far, a like and sub would be awesome, as it helps out my channel tremendously. Now we have Hune Park, who earned his qualification for the 2025 season by winning the 2024 Monsters Gym Pro shortly after last year's Olympia. Now, he decided to take the entire year off leading into this season, focusing on refining his physique and coming back sharper. Hune is known for his dense, detailed muscle bellies and his ability to nail his condition every single time he competes, and I do think he's one of the most consistent athletes in Classic and kind of underrated in that aspect. Now, that said, his shape and structure are not the most standout or flowing compared to the top-tier competitors, which does limit how high he really can climb. When he finally returned to that 2025 Olympia stage, he ended up taking 15th, which is roughly around the same spot that he's occupied in the last few seasons. So while he is clearly capable of winning qualification shows and always brings a very polished look, this year didn't mark much of a step forward in his career, and if anything, I think he placed 12th in 2024, so this would be a setback in terms of on-paper placings. So overall, I'd place Hune in B tier. He's a very hardworking, reliable competitor who delivers a great look every single time, but still needs that next level structure and genetics or that wow factor to truly break through. Next is Wesley Vissers, and honestly, 2025 was a really rough year for him. He came into the Arnold Classic with big expectations but ended up placing 5th, which was well below what most fans and judges expected. Reports did say that he got sick leading into the show, which definitely affected his peak, and while he still looked pretty decent, it was clear he was not at his all-time best. His trademark upper body fullness and structure were still there, but his legs and waistline continued to hold him back, especially against other competitors who have cleaner flow and straight-up better proportion. Now, Wesley tried to bounce back at the Detroit Pro, a show many people thought he would win easily, but he came up short again, losing to Grego, who simply brought a tighter and more balanced package. It is pretty disappointing because Wesley has one of the most unique and classic-looking physiques in this division, but this year he did not really deliver when it mattered. With no wins and no Mr. Olympia qualification, Wesley Vissers falls into C tier, as he is easily one of the most underwhelming competitors in all of 2025. Coming up is Chen, who is a personal favorite competitor of mine. From the front, his shape is incredible, massive full quads that might honestly be the best in the entire division, along with impressive symmetry and clean overall aesthetics. He kicked off his season strong, winning both the China Pro and the Toronto Pro, and I would say that he did both convincingly, showing clear improvements in condition and balance. Especially at the China Pro, it really did look like he brought his best overall package to date. He was tight, full, and incredibly refined. That had a lot of people, myself included, thinking this was finally going to be the year he made a serious impact at the Olympia, but unfortunately that did not really happen. When he stepped on the Olympia stage, he didn't even place, which was a huge letdown given how great his early season looked. It's disappointing because he's genuinely one of my favorite competitors, and his potential is still massive in my own opinion, but still, with 2 pro wins and an unplaced Olympia finish, I would have Chen in B tier. He's a great bodybuilder with undeniable talent and great genetics, who just could not really carry the momentum when it mattered the most. Next up is Batarina, who qualified for the 2025 Olympia by winning the 2024 Hurricane Pro, and then took the entire year off to focus on improving his look. That time clearly paid off. He brought up his back, added noticeable overall mass, and managed to keep his signature shape and structure completely intact. When he stepped on stage at the Olympia, he looked the best he ever has, earning a well-deserved 9th place, which was a 5-spot improvement from last year. His balance, flow, and condition all came together beautifully, showing just how much progress he was able to make this year. Then, right after the Olympia, he went back to the Hurricane Pro and defended his title, becoming a back-to-back champion there. 2 show wins and a top 10 Olympia finish make this his best year yet, proving that he's not just consistent but truly leveling up season by season. Because of all that, Batarina lands in A tier. He's a solid, respectable competitor with a lot of potential in my own opinion, and someone who could easily break into the top spots in the near future. Moving on, here's Nile Darwin, who made some of the most noticeable improvements of any classic physique competitor this year. After taking a well-deserved offseason following the 2024 Olympia, he returned at the Tampa Pro where he looked absolutely incredible. He was bigger, sharper, and with that same jaw-dropping wow factor that all the fans love. The lineup was not the deepest, I would say, but Nile's look was undeniable. He dominated that show with a lot of ease, showing off insane proportions, razor-sharp condition, and one of the best overall shapes in the entire division. Then at the 2025 Olympia, he really did make a statement by finishing 5th place, moving up from outside of the top 10 last year. His X-frame and V-taper were on another level, tiny waist, wide shoulders, and flawless lines from every single angle. The balance and symmetry he brings are easily among the best in the entire division. With a dominant win at the Tampa Pro and a top 5 Mr. Olympia finish, I would have Nile Darwin in S tier all day. He might not have won multiple shows this year, but the quality of his physique and the improvements he made this year prove he's one of the top competitors in this division. Now we come to Michael Doul, one of the most active and consistent competitors in this division. He qualified for this season by winning the 2024 Legion Sports Fest, and as usual, he wasted no time jumping into several big shows throughout 2025. He started off strong at the Arnold Classic, where he placed 4th, a very respectable finish considering the stacked lineup. Then he went on to win the Dubai Pro, which is no small feat. It's one of the bigger international shows on the calendar. At the Olympia, he cracked into the top 10 with an 8th place finish, showing once again that he can stand with the very best in the division. Most recently, he wrapped up his season with a 3rd place finish at the Prague Pro, proving his consistency and endurance across multiple shows. As always, Michael brought his trademark condition. He's always very tight, sharp, and stage ready every single time. Now, the only downside for him is that he tends to look a bit flat and kind of struggles to stand out against competitors with rounder, fuller muscle shape and more flowing aesthetics. But still, between the Dubai Pro win, consistently high placings, and a top 10 Mr. Olympia finish, Michael Doul would land in A tier. He's a seasoned veteran by now and a very reliable competitor who continues to deliver solid results year after year. Next is Terrence Ruffin, who had one of the most impressive and consistent seasons of any classic physique competitor in all of 2025. He racked up an incredible list of accomplishments, winning the Pittsburgh Pro, the New York Pro, and the Prague Pro, and then capped it all off with a top 3 finish at the Mr. Olympia. That level of dominance across multiple shows is extremely rare, and Terrence made it look pretty easy. Every time he stepped on stage, he brought the same complete, balanced look that's made him one of the most respected and feared athletes in this division. Now, he may not have any one standout body part, but his proportions, flow, and stage presentation are second to none. His posing is also one of the best in the entire IFBB, and his physique embodies the perfect mix of classic shape and modern refinement. The fact that he was able to compete so often and still maintain that level of quality is really no easy feat. Overall, I would have Terrence Ruffin sitting comfortably in S+ tier, with one of the most consistent and complete and well-executed comeback seasons we've seen in years. He was extremely dominant, consistent, and a true representation of classic physique excellence, even though he might have not won the Mr. Olympia title. Here we have Matt Grego, who had a busy and overall solid 2025 season. He started the year off at the Arnold Classic, where he impressed everyone by cracking the top 3. His physique there looked pretty clean, aesthetic, and well-proportioned, showing great potential for the future. He followed that up with an even more impressive showing at the Detroit Pro, where he took home the win. Some say the lighting might have helped him look at his best, but regardless, his structure and lines looked absolutely ideal for the division, and he also peaked really well. However, things did slightly take a dip at the Olympia, where he placed 10th once again, the same as last year. He wasn't quite as sharp or detailed as he was earlier in the season, and while his structure was still amazing, the overall impact was not really the same. After the Olympia, he jumped into the Hurricane Pro and took 2nd place, closing out a year that was still statistically strong, even if not visually as impressive in the end. In my opinion, Matt Grego fits in that A tier. He's a talented, aesthetic competitor with proven results this year, but one who still needs to find that perfect formula to really translate his potential into true Olympia-level impact. Next up is Brion Aninsley, and unfortunately, 2025 was one of his weakest showings to date, if not his weakest ever. After taking the entire season off, he came into the Olympia with hopes of returning and winning even, but his physique that he brought this year was not really on par with the very top competitors anymore. His conditioning, usually his strong point, was noticeably off, I would say. His legs lacked a lot of fullness, and the overall balance that once made him a threat in any show seemed to kind of fade. While he still carries a lot of muscle maturity and poise, the sharpness and density that used to define his look just was not there. He ended up taking 14th place, which is a major drop from last year's top 5 finish, and easily one of the biggest regressions of the entire season. It's tough, especially for someone who helped shape the division and set the early standard for classic physique. I mean, he's a 2-time Mr. Olympia champion for a reason, but judging purely by performance this year, Brion Aninsley would land in C tier, a legend whose legacy is firmly cemented in the division's history, but this season clearly showed he's no longer keeping pace with the absolute best in the world. Now we have Jose Manuel, better known as Jose Ma Beast, who had a very incredible and highly consistent 2025 season. He qualified by winning the 2024 Nutra Yummy Pro, then kicked off his year with 2 huge performances at the Pittsburgh Pro and the New York Pro. Each time he took second place behind Terrence Ruffin, and honestly, those results were extremely debatable. Many fans even thought Josema could have even gotten the win. He brought his trademark condition to every single event, looking razor sharp, dry, and detailed from start to finish. Josema might not have the most aesthetic structure in any lineup, but his density, crazy condition, and ability to hit that peak perfectly every single time makes him one of the most reliable competitors in Classic. Then at the Olympia, he improved even further, I would say, taking 4th place, a 2-spot jump from last year. That really is the kind of progress and consistency that deserves a lot of recognition. With a big win early in the season, 2 near victories at major shows, and a Mr. Olympia top 4 finish, Jose Manuel earns a strong S-tier placing. He's a relentless competitor who proves that precision and discipline can take you just as far as genetics in this division. Next is Maddius Menagotchi, who had a pretty solid and improving 2025 season. He started things off at the Tampa Pro, but it wasn't really his best showing, I would say. His conditioning was off, especially from behind, with pretty soft hamstrings and glutes that cost him the win to Nile Darwin. But just a week later, he completely turned things around at the Texas Pro, coming in much fuller, tighter, and better peaked to take a well-deserved victory. His physique overall is incredibly aesthetic with beautiful lines and proportion, but he could still use a bit more overall size in the back and chest to hang with the very top guys. When he stepped on the Olympia stage, he did bring his best version to date, I would say, much sharper and drier than the earlier showings, and he took 7th place, which is a very respectable result in such a stacked lineup. Between the Texas Pro win and his Olympia improvement, Maddius Menagotchi sits comfortably in A tier, a great look this year, consistent progress, and a ton of potential to keep climbing higher. Moving on, we have Horse MD, who made the big move from Open into Classic Physique this season. He kicked it off with a win at the Portugal Pro, which was impressive for his debut, but the show was not particularly deep and some clear weaknesses were already visible. His wide waist and underdeveloped back stood out, and while his conditioning was decent, I would say, it was not really quite at the level needed to hang with the very best in the division. Heading into the Olympia, expectations were kind of mixed. Most people hoped he would come in sharper and more dialed in, as was the case for me, but unfortunately this did not happen. From the back, he lacked a lot of separation and detail, and from the front, he looked a bit flat and watery, missing the crisp lines that define this division. While his quads and arms are definitely stronger points, the overall flow and refinement just are not there yet. He ended up not placing at the Olympia this year, which reflected exactly where he's at in this transitional phase of his career. For now, Horse MD would fall into C tier. He's a promising athlete with a lot of potential, but one who still needs serious fine-tuning before he can really compete at the classic level. Now we have Fabian Meyer, who had a pretty interesting but unusual 2025 season. He was originally set to compete in Classic Physique at the Portugal Pro, but after missing the weight cap, he had to switch over to the Open division there instead. Later, he would come back and win the Austrian Oak Pro, though there was pretty little media coverage of that show, so most fans did not really get to see much of his look. That win qualified him for the Mr. Olympia, marking his first appearance there in 3 years, but because he hadn't been active in major shows all season, the hype was not really strong heading into it. Once he hit the Olympia stage, though, he surprised a lot of people, coming in at 11th place with his best look to date in my own opinion. He was massive, incredibly conditioned, and carried a lot of balance throughout his entire frame. Now, personally, I'm not the biggest fan of his shape or aesthetic, but you cannot deny the density and amazing structure he brings when he's on. With one solid win and a near top 10 Olympia finish, I would have Fabian Meyer right around that B tier. A pretty strong year overall for a comeback, but not quite enough activity or elite placing to push him any higher. Second to last is Podor Voytovich, who made a pretty big impression in his first Classic Physique season. He started off pretty strong by winning the 2025 Europa Pro, and I would say it was pretty convincing as well. He won due to his proportions, shape, and overall presence. Now, Podor has one of the freakiest looks from the front in the entire division, with massive sweeping quads, a tight waist, and wide enough shoulders that give him a great X-frame and impressive silhouette. His proportions are also excellent and really make him stand out, though from the side and back, he still has some work to do in terms of thickness and overall development. At his Olympia debut, he took 13th place, which is very impressive for a newcomer, especially also in such a stacked lineup, and there's definitely an argument that he could have been, a spot or two higher. Overall, though, it was a strong debut season. He proved that he belongs on the Olympia stage, but he still does need a lot more refinement to reach that top tier level. Now, in my opinion, I would have Podor Voytovich earning a solid B tier spot. He had a great rookie season with a lot of potential, and he definitely can become a real threat as he continues to develop. Finally, we have Ramon Dino, who I think is the best Classic Physique competitor of 2025. After taking the entire year off, he returned at the Mr. Olympia and delivered one of his best looks yet. He had massive arms, razor-sharp detail, and that signature X-frame that perfectly represents the division. He was extremely dominant at prejudging, showcasing an unbeatable mix of size, shape, balance, and condition, and even though he faded by the finals, his overall package was still amazing. Now, there was definitely an argument for Mike Sommerfeld winning at finals, since Ramon did fade rather noticeably, but the dominance he showcased in prejudging was too much for the judges to ignore. That said, while he only competed once this season, that single win was the absolute pinnacle show of the entire year, being the Mr. Olympia, of course, and that alone, in my opinion, outmatches anything anyone else could have done. He's the reigning Mr. Olympia champion, the face of the division, and what many people would consider the gold standard for what Classic Physique should be. So I think Ramon Dino is S+ tier without a doubt. He's the undisputed #1 of 2025. Anyways, guys, that about does it for this video. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down below, and I hope you enjoyed it. With that all being said, I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.